I love having an intimate relationship with cultural objects, art objects, historic objects, being able to handle them, inspect them under magnification, turn them over, look at them backwards, upside down, and have a hand in their life.
A conservator is a person who's trained in a variety of fields in order to work both proactively and reactively with objects of artistic and cultural significance, so we can preserve them for future generations.
To become a conservator, one must go through a long process of understanding studio art, art history, chemistry, some physics. I don't know if a lot of people realize how much schooling and education it takes to get to where we are.
We pull tools from a lot of different fields, medical, like tweezers, dental tools, scalpels. Obviously, we pull from the studio arts, using paints and paintbrushes, easels, fashion designing, using different materials and different fabrics. So conservators are very resourceful in finding new uses for existing products.
With conservation, we like to take before and after treatments to show what we did and how we did not alter the original so far that it's unrecognizable.
It's a big responsibility to be the one person that is given charge of understanding and taking care of an object. The Margaret Herrick Library collects cultural objects that relate to the motion picture industry. So the collection includes mostly paper-based items, documents, photographs, production art, vintage posters, even some architectural drawings, sketches, watercolor, prints.
The Academy is a functioning library. Patrons can, if the objects are in good condition, request to see them and actually physically hold them.
So the conservator's job at this library is to make that information accessible. So if a page is torn and someone needs to turn the page, we are able to repair that page. So this has a complex tear here.
In the Conservation Lab, tear repair is definitely the #1 treatment that we perform. It could be minor tears along the edge of somebody turning a page in a book, or it could be larger tears down the folds of an original poster.
Tear repair would involve realigning the tear and then applying wheat starch paste and Japanese tissue, flattening and allowing the object to dry flat.
The Japanese paper makers are considered national treasures because they have this dying art of making these great sheets of paper. It doesn't have any acid in it, so it will not discolor, it does not stain. It's just the best inert material that you can find.
We also do a lot of tape and adhesive stain removal.
Tape.
People think tape is wonderful, and tape is paper conservators' worst enemy.
Each one of these is a small envelope with the negative inside. The tape, as it degrades, stuck all of the envelopes together, so now it's just one solid unit.
We actually have a lot of things that have become completely disfigured or stained because of the adhesive in the tape. So we are doing a lot of tape removal, a lot of adhesive removal, and that involves a lot of solvent work.
We need to know not only the chemistry of how what we're introducing, either solvent or water, will react with the paper support itself, but also the media on top of it. So you could have a paper that's completely fine with water, but if the media, like watercolor, is affected by water, we have to know the chemistry of what other solvent or what other avenue we can go down.
I have to test that for water sensitivity.
A lot of people don't realize that paper can get wet, but actually paper is made from water and pulp. So a common practice for removing degradation products in paper is to wash it.
I think there's so many things within the Academy's collection that are just so fascinating to me, but one of my most favorites is the animation cell from Walt Disney's Sleeping Beauty. It's kind of like a childhood memory, coming to life, and you'd be like, I get to see that.
Handwriting, seeing someone's, personal touch on something, a quick sketch or an idea that's been jotted down is really interesting to kind of get a sense of the working process.
I always love working on graphic arts collections. I've always loved posters, not just film posters, but any kind of mass-produced media or ephemera that normally wouldn't be considered fine art by museum standards. I love the place that they have in our day-to-day lives.
It's exciting to handle objects that I know have been worked with and been in contact with someone important or someone important to the process or someone from long ago, and that it's important to other people to see it makes me feel that my job is important.
All these materials and artifacts that we have, these are sometimes the only record that we have of something. So if we don't take the time and the energy to preserve it, the future generations will no longer know.